Oi! Yes! What's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday afternoon here. It is UFC Vegas 42, and we've got a very special balls deep breakdown for you guys, breaking down the curtain jerker of this event that's coming up on Saturday. It's going to be Kennedy and Nzechekuwu versus Jung. This is a really interesting stylistic matchup with two really good young fighters here. I can't wait to break this down with you guys. Um, I hope you guys were able to check out Just the Tip last night. I broke down all 11 fights on this card, gave you an ass shaving of the week, which is going to be Ben Rothwell shaving my guy, Marcos Rogerio de Lima. That is the ass shaving of the week this week. What is up with you guys? Do we got a couple people in here with us right now? We got Raw Torque saying Uncle Weezy is the word, always bringing the heat. We got my guy Nigel Lee in the room. Good to see Nigel in here. Oh boy, it's almost about that time. Weezy. Dude, what's going on, you guys? I hope you guys are really ready to break down this fight because it is a fun one, man. I can't believe that this is the first fight on the card, too, because both of these guys have got a good little winning streak going, and I would like to see, you know, I would like to see this one up a little bit further on the card because it's a great matchup. Two great young light heavyweights with a lot of power, very exciting fighters. But it's the first fight of the night. And we know that that first fight of the night always tends to bring violence, man. And these are two dudes who hit really hard and are really big guys. So this is going to be a fun one, man. And we got Headley one in the room saying, is Hamzat stepping in for Masvidal against Edwards? I haven't heard any official word yet. I know that Hamzat's been tweeting today saying he'll basically fight Bully B. He'll fight Masvidal. He'll fight whoever. I mean, that guy will fight anybody on a very short notice. He doesn't really care. So, but that would be interesting. Will Edwards agree to fight Hamayev? Even if let's say that happened, right? Even if Edwards is like, yeah, I'll fight him. You get the feeling that fight's not happening anyway. That somebody's not going to make it to the cage, and it's probably Leon Edwards. I wouldn't want to fight that guy either, man, right now. But if your takedown defense holds up, nobody's really given Hamzat a test yet. I mean, he's absolutely destroyed everybody. You know, the stat, I don't have it in front of me, but I know this by heart. You can't forget this. You know, Hamzat's had 4 UFC fights. And in those 4 UFC fights, his opponents, all 4 opponents, have landed 1 significant strike. Not 1 apiece. 1. There's 1 guy who landed 1 strike in 1 fight. All the other 3 guys landed 0 significant strikes in the fight. I mean, that's dominance. That's ass shaving. That's as good as it gets. So, I think Bilal Muhammad said he would fight Hamzat. So that would be interesting. That'd be a great fight. We got to see Hamzat beat more guys than just Li Jingliang. In order to get a title shot here. So, I'd like to see him get a win over somebody like Edwards or Muhammad or Masvidal. Or, I mean, I don't think Colby's going to fight him, but I don't know what's next for Colby here. But, guys like Luque, I'd like to see Luque get a title shot. That would be really fun to see. Gilbert Burns is in the mix, obviously. Chiesa's in the mix. Covington's in the mix. Hamzat, Masvidal. Leon, all those guys are in the mix. So it's a very interesting division. Can't wait to see what happens here as the year comes to a close and we kind of start to see how the division shapes up and who's going to be the next one to get a chance at Usman. But yeah, that's a good one, man. And we got Borgie 2008 saying, yes, now Weezy. What's up, Borgie? Thanks for hanging out. Got my pad and pen, Nigel Lee says. Justin Nelson saying, Edwards said he wasn't taking a fight and said it was family time now. Yeah, as soon as Hamzat's looking for a fight, then it's fucking family time. Despite the fact that he was actually, he was scheduled to fight in December against Jorge. So yeah, I mean, I think Jorge would have been a really good matchup for Leon, but Hamzat not so much. Nobody's signing up to fight this kid. So yeah, man. Yeah, Nigel Lee saying Edwards will not do it. He values his health. yeah, I mean, Edwards isn't fighting him. You know, he wouldn't get to the cage, man. Something would happen. There'd be an injury. We got JSJ23 saying, "What's up, Weezy? I'm done trying to fade Nzechekuwu, dog or pass here." Yeah, we'll talk about it, man. And Nzechekuwu's been a money train for me, dude. I hit the 3rd round prop on this guy last time. If you go back and watch my balls deep breakdown, I did one on Nzechekuwu Marquez the last time, you know, for Nzechekuwu's last fight. I called that fight absolutely perfectly. I described exactly what was going to happen. It's probably the most prophetic balls deep breakdown I've done in the history of this franchise, we'll call it, because man, and that fight went down exactly as I thought it would. I thought, you know, he'd get grapple fucked for round 1. I thought that Marquez would start to slow down in round 2, and Nzechekuwu would land some shots, and I said he'd barely get off the stool in round 3, and that's what happened. And then he got finished quickly in round 3. I mean, it took less than 20 seconds. So I feel like I have a really good feel for Nzechekuwu's fights and for what his strengths are, and those strengths are gifts. They're not things. I mean, you know, you can't train height. You know, you can't train length. You know, you can train conditioning, but some guys just have, you know, some guys have the capacity to just be crazy conditioning wise. They have a gene or something, and they can just go forever. And those people are scary. And Nzechekuwu's one of those dudes. And I mean, 83-inch reach, you know, freakish conditioning. And then you look at how many significant strikes he took from Carlos Ulberg in just under 8 minutes. This guy's durability is absolutely next level. So, you know, those are things that you can't train. You can't train durability. You can't train heart. You can't train length, and you can't train height. And Nzechekuwu's got all of those things. And then you add the conditioning on top of it. And he's a very, very unique puzzle to have to figure out. And Jung's got his work cut out for him, you guys, on Saturday. I am telling you, this guy Nzechekuwu's a mess to deal with. He's an absolute mess. And Jabril saying, Uncle Weezy, I love the breakdowns. Thanks, my guy. I appreciate you, Jabril. Thank you for hanging out, man. It doesn't work without you guys being here in the chat with me. And JSJ saying Gilbert accepted Hamzat's call out. Now, that would be interesting, you know. That would be a really, really great stylistic matchup because, you know, if Hamzat wants to take Gilbert down, you know, can he dominate him, you know, from the top position, or would he be defensively kind of just fending off submissions from the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion? So that would be a really interesting stylistic matchup. I'd love to see Gilbert Burns fight Hamzat. That'd be a great one. Brian Fusco saying, Uncle Weezy knows his shit. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm sorry. This just Brian, appreciate that, man. Thanks for hanging out. And we got the Smoking Pug saying they on PEDs. There's Nate Diaz said everybody was on steroids. Remember that one? Thanks for hanging out, Smoking Pug. And Nigel Lee saying his fight with Ulberg and his durability and with his ability to deliver power later in the fight. Recipe for success. 2nd and 3rd round sprinkles all day. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Agree 100% with you there. And we got my guy DFS by the numbers in the room, you guys. Shout out Jacques Tits. Man, Jacques Tits, an absolute juggernaut in the field of incidence geometry. Rest in peace, Jacques Tits, the man, the myth, the legend. If you guys didn't catch Story Time with Uncle Weezy on last night's Just the Tip, you're going to have to check that out. Go check out the replay on my channel. You'll hear one of the better stories that I've ever told, I think. Go Flamingo in the room. Can you train Uncle Weezy's hair? It's so that, you know, I don't know if it could be trained. It probably could be. I probably need a little help from a stylist, but I just got it cut recently. I think it looks all right, but it looked horrible before. So anything would have looked better than what it looked like before. So I don't know if it could be trained, Go Flamingo, but we can give it a shot, man. And Justin Nelson saying the Caceres over Choi was a good call too, Weezy. Oh yeah, well, that was a big week for me on DraftKings, man. I absolutely cleaned up because Caceres was my punt. And yeah, Caceres is tricky, man. He's a tricky guy, and he's very, very durable. So yeah, man, that was very that was a good. I mean, that helped me win a lot of money on DraftKings that day. Caceres getting that win over Choi. I did not bet that though, Justin. Just to be clear, I said that I was avoiding Choi because I thought that Caceres was tricky, and I thought the line was too juiced. But yeah, I wish I bet him. But the fact that I punted with him in DraftKings, man, made me a ton of money. Thanks for hanging out, Justin. And the tits metric. Yeah, man, we got the tits metric. One of the things he also invented tits buildings and the tits alternative, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out Jock Tits, man. And we got the Indigo Ginzo in here saying, yo, what's up, Indigo? And we got JSJ. You should get on Patreon. No doubt you'll have a good number of subscribers. It'd be great to support the content. I appreciate that, JSJ. You know what I'm going to do is I'm looking to kind of like get through the end of the year here. And then at the end of the year, the UFC will be taking a month off. We'll have 4 consecutive weekends, I believe, with no UFC. And my plans during that time, which I'm calling my vacation, is to upgrade everything that I do here on YouTube with the content that I provide on Stat Diggers with DFS by the numbers. I want to build out some PowerPoint templates that can really present this data in a way that really pops for you guys. I already put a lot of work into it, but if I could put work into the actual behind the scenes stuff in this month off and kind of build out some stuff that allow me to kind of just cut and paste the stats that I already have into a very good looking way to display all the information and really bring some more cutting edge stats and some better analysis. Then the plan is once I get 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, I'll be able to accept donations, and then I'll be able to put out a monthly product, whether it's with Patreon or whether it's with my own website, where we deal in some analytics, some, not necessarily selling picks, but just selling the analytics and the decision-making behind how we bet. I've got big plans for next year, you guys, but being a content creator takes a ton of time and a ton of dedication. So you have to be there every single week. So sometimes when you need to pull away from the content creation in order to build out what's behind the scenes that you guys don't see, that's what I'm planning to do during the month off, and hopefully come back with something that's just way better visually for you guys in terms of, thumbnails for the videos and just better ways to present the stats and a better way and more thoughtful way of breaking down a fight from A to Z and really kind of taking the emotion out of it and putting it into, data-driven analytics, really kind of go over the way that I make decisions and how I make picks. So all that is on tap for next year. And I plan to have something where you guys can support me if you do enjoy the work that I'm putting out for you guys. But I really appreciate that, JSJ. Thank you. And we got Nigel Lee saying, Weezy's hair is a national treasure. We must protect it at all costs. It's a thing of beauty. Nigel, you are a thing of beauty, my man. Thank you so much. And we got Dom209 saying, Uncle Weezy over here. What's up, Dom? Good to see you, man. The best stats and breakdowns, pure comedy. I appreciate that, Dom. And we got good old statistician Tits saying Indigo Ginzo. And we got Alejandro Gonzalez. I see the records in the back. Show us one of your faves. Okay, one of the faves, huh? Oh, boy. Let's see here. What do we got? That's a good one. This is a good one, you guys. This is Roy Davis Jr. This is on Bombay Recordings. This is a EP called Unreleased Basement Tracks, Volume 2. And track B2 here is called Comparison It Is. And it's actually Comparisonitis. One of my favorite house tracks ever. It is a banger. Roy Davis Jr., Comparison It Is. One of my favorite records that I like to play. Thank you, Alejandro Gonzalez. Appreciate that. That's a house classic from the late 1990s, that record that I just pulled. Indigo Ginzo saying 1 month with no UFC. That severely sucks. Yes, it does, my man. It does, but it's going to be some time for me to actually update everything that I do for you guys and really kind of bring you guys better shows even next year. And then when Brady and I are doing Stat Diggers, I'm planning on bringing some fire graphics for that as well. MMA Asphalt saying, let's go balls deep, baby. What's up, Asphalt? Good to see you in here, my man. And we got Brian Fusco saying, no UFC for a month. What the fuck? Time for Bellator and to strike and step it up, man. Yeah, I hear you, dude. And we got hashtag need that Patreon. It'll be coming up soon, my man. I appreciate that, though. We got the General in the room taking notes. Good to see you, General. Thanks for hanging out. And JSJ saying, I need you to drop a set when we hit a milestone number of ass shavings. Yeah, that's a good idea, dude. I really do need to get back on those turntables and kind of get back to my house roots, man. It would be really fun and to do a show for you guys. I gotta get the sound right in here, and once I do that, we could do some record spinning. It's one of my favorite things to do. We got Roy C saying, "Yo, Unc, what's up, Roy? Good to see you." And Gogo saying, "I agree with JSJ. Get a Patreon, and seriously glad you're planning on growing. Tell me, did Weili win?" That was a close fight, man. That was a close fight. I thought Colby could have won on the scorecards. I thought Weili could have won on the scorecards, but I wasn't mad at either of the decisions at all. I felt like, in order to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. And you can't be like that 50-50 split decision. Usually the champion gets those. And in both cases, the champion got it. But Usman landed the bigger shots, got the knockdowns in round 2. And, and I think Rose really kind of dominated those early rounds. But, yeah, Weili was close, man. It was a great fight. Another great Weili war. The Joanna fight was awesome. The Rose rematch was awesome. Really excited to see Weili back. And I'm really excited to see what's next for Kamaru Usman. And I'm really excited to see what's next for Colby Covington. And the Smoking Pugs saying, no way she did. And we got Nigel Lee saying, Rui da Silva, touch me in one of the greatest house tracks. Check it out, Weezy. I will, dude. I'm familiar with Rui da Silva. As a matter of fact, I have a couple of Rui da Silva records back here. I might even have Touch Me, but there's so much stuff back there. I don't even know 75% of the records that I have, like who the artists are, what it is. Like I look at the label and I can remember what song it is. So that's kind of how it goes when you DJ. And we got Dom saying we got to drop a live set while we got a UFC drive. Yeah, I'll do it for you guys. I'll definitely DJ for you guys in the off month because there will be time for me. And we got Chris Calanza saying, what is your ass shaving of the week? Ass shaving of the week this week, Big Ben Rothwell from Kenosha, Wisconsin, going to be shaving the ass of Marcos Rogerio de Lima. That is my ass shaving of the week. I also have a 1.5 unit bet on the Ben Rothwell money line, and I'm also hedging that with a minus 135, 1.35 unit bet on the Rothwell de Lima fight doesn't go to decision because de Lima is quite a finisher. He hits very hard. He's got a lot of power. So if he does drop Rothwell early, at least I'll get that. But I don't see that fight going to decision. I do see Rothwell getting the win there. But let's see if Smooth Jimmy's ready to go here, man. Because if he's ready to go, that means we're ready to break down some stats, man. And let's see here. Let's see if he's gotten out of makeup yet. Oh, he's ready to go, man. Look at how handsome Smooth Jimmy is. Ready to go with his lock of the week. I'm ready to go with the balls deep breakdown here. Let me just get a sip of water and we'll bring up these stats, you guys. All right. So let me get this off the screen and we will bring up these stats, you guys. And we will start like we always do with the tail of the tape. We've got Kennedy Nzechekuwu, 29 years old. Da Jung, only 27 years old. And Nzechekuwu with a 1-inch height advantage and a 5-inch reach advantage. This is the length that I told you guys that we cannot teach length. And Kennedy Nzechekuwu, I think there's only 2 people in the history of the UFC who have a longer reach than Nzechekuwu, and one of them is John Jones. The other one might have been Struve, but I'm not sure about that. It doesn't matter, though. This guy is huge. He's absolutely freakishly long for the division. And he's a southpaw. That's another gift, because a lot of people don't deal with southpaws well. Da Jung, that shouldn't be a problem. When I was watching the tape on Da Jung, he's fought several southpaws. One of them, Sam Alvey. I saw him fight a southpaw on the regional scene. And Mike Rodriguez is also a southpaw, and he absolutely slept him. So he's fought 2 of his 4 UFC fights have been against southpaws. So the fact, excuse me, I'm a little bit stuffed up today. The fact that Kennedy is a southpaw definitely won't be something that absolutely throws him off. He's trained for southpaws 2 out of his last 3 fights. But the 83-inch reach, the 6'5" height, the incredible durability and conditioning will be some things that Jung has to deal with in this spot. But it is going to be Jung that has the experience advantage here. 17 professional fights in comparison to only 10 for Nzechekuwu. Nzechekuwu is still very new to the game. 9-1 record for Nzechekuwu, 14-2-1 for Jung. And Jung got about a little over 50 more minutes in the pro cage. Average fight time between 8 and 9.1 minutes for both of these guys. And both of these guys have careers that are less than 7 years. So they're both less than 30 years old, which is rare for the light heavyweight division. They're both fairly new to the game, but it is Jung who's much more experienced. But it is Nzechekuwu who's fought a bigger percentage of his career at the UFC level, having 6 UFC fights to Jung's 4. And we got about 20 more minutes in the UFC cage for Nzechekuwu. So I would definitely give the tail of the tape advantage to Nzechekuwu. He's going to have the tail of the tape advantage against pretty much any human being on the planet. And then the experience advantage, we got to go with Jung. But Kennedy Nzechekuwu not really falling behind there, despite the fact that he's got 7 less fights, 50 less minutes in the cage. He does have 2 more fights at the UFC level and has basically been, let's look, take a little bit deeper look into the experience here. You know, we see Jung started his career against Hyung-Chul Lee here as a pro, 2015, in the middle, at the end of May here. And he has losses to Junsu Lim, 7-8 at the time. He had a loss to Roque Martinez in his 3rd fight. He lost by key lock there. And then wins over Lucas Tani, Handong Kong, Shunsuke Inoue, Hyun-Soo Lee, Ryo Sakai, Hulk, Peterson Almeida, Yuto Nakajima, Abdutalib Kalilov, Sasa Milinkovic, and then he comes into the UFC, beats Ibragimov, beats Rodriguez, draw against Alvey, a win against William Knight. He lost that first round to Ibragimov, and he might have even lost the second round to Ibragimov in that debut. Ibragimov was just throwing a ton of volume at him. He threw the kitchen sink at this dude. So we know that Jung is very durable as well, because, I mean, if you watch that Ibragimov fight, Ibragimov is like throwing up 30 punch combinations and just throwing everything into every punch, and he punches himself out. Jung does a pretty good job keeping a high guard, staying behind his defense. He did a good job in that fight. He let Ibragimov punch himself out, and then he got the finish late in that 3rd round. Mike Rodriguez, he slept right away. Didn't look good against Sam Alvey. He lost those first 2 rounds against Alvey as like a -350 favorite, and then came back and had a fantastic 3rd round and almost finished the very durable Sam Alvey. Had him on skates about 2 or 3 times in that 3rd round. And then a really impressive performance here against William Knight, where we saw the new wrestling wrinkle to his game, where he went out there and he got 8 takedowns against William Knight and got a ton of control time. So let's go to the advanced stats here, you guys, and we can kind of just highlight Jung's UFC experience here. And that should be the last ones on this. And by the way, the link to this, the matchup templates, is in the description of this video, you guys. So this is Kennedy's experience, or this is Jung. So yeah, he got 724 seconds of control time out of 900 here against William Knight. William Knight was throwing a lot of heat, and he just decided to not stand with him and took him down, rode him out, made it look pretty easy. We can see right here that he got 8 out of his 9 takedown attempts here, 7 trip takedowns and 1 double leg. And then those 8 takedowns, he got almost 800 seconds of control time. So yeah, that's really good job just blanketing his opponent there. It's a side of him that we haven't seen. And then if we go up here to Kennedy, there's a couple things that I want to highlight about his experience, you guys. So we go into the Nzechekuwu stats, and we know that there's only 10 pro fights for Kennedy Nzechekuwu. We start down here with the 9-9 Matt Foster. And what was interesting about this Matt Foster fight, I watched this. This is where you see Kennedy actually go to his wrestling. In his pro debut, he wrestled this guy Foster and was going to the wrestling more than he was to the striking. And then I don't remember whether it was a ground and pound knockout or standing knockout, but he knocked him out. And then he has a win by unanimous decision over Ty Wallman. Then, with 2 professional wins, gets invited onto the Contender Series. And he fights Anton Berzin, and he wins via split decision. I don't know how that was a split decision. There's no way that Anton Berzin won 2 rounds of that fight. There's no way. But Berzin completely gassed out. Kennedy showed his conditioning, showed his good straight punches there, got the win. But, obviously with only 3 professional fights after getting that win, Dana told him, go out there, get a little more seasoning, and then come back. And then he goes back to XKO, gets a win over Andre Kavanaugh in the round 1, gets a win over Corey Johnson at LFA 40 here in round 2. And then he gets invited back to the Contender Series, beats Dennis Bryant, who looked about 3 weight classes smaller than him. And then he gets his UFC debut, and it's against Paul Craig. And Paul Craig is so dangerous, so tough. And here's a guy at this point that only has 6 professional fights, and he's fighting Paul Craig and loses via triangle choke at 4 minutes and 20 seconds of round 3, you guys. A heartbreaking loss, a heartbreaking way to lose your O, but a great learning experience there for Kennedy. He showed a really good defensive jiu-jitsu game there. Paul Craig had to pull guard a number of times because he was unable to take down Kennedy. So that's a very interesting thing too. When we look at the grappling stats, is Jung going to be able to do to Kennedy what he did to William Knight? And I don't think he's going to be able to do that. And then Darko Stosic, man, I mean, he used poor Kennedy's like ball sack as a speed bag. He just was punching him in the sack over and over and over again. If you want to lose like 40 minutes of your life, go watch the Kennedy Nzechekuwu Darko Stosic fight. There's like 10 minutes of nut shot stoppages in that fight. It's horrible. Don't watch it. I watched it. I say that you don't watch it. And then Carlos Ulberg. This is a very interesting fight. We've got to look into this one a little bit deeper. But Carlos Ulberg puts it on Kennedy for the first 7 minutes of this fight and throws just an absolutely heroic output of volume. And Kennedy's just there, man. Kennedy shows tremendous durability in this fight. And then he shows tremendous patience. He shows that he's growing up against Danilo Marquez here. Danilo gets his back right away, backpacks him, gets the body triangle, and just is trying to choke him out for about 4.5 minutes. Kennedy constantly just fighting the hands, staying on the fence, making Danilo keep that body triangle locked in, gasses out his legs, and winds up putting it on him a little bit in the second round and finishing in the third. So that's the experience stats broken down for you guys here. We've looked at the UFC and pre-UFC schedules of these guys. So now let's go back into the matchup template here and start to look at the striking numbers and the grappling numbers, you guys. All right, so let me get this centered on the page for you guys here. All right, so top left of your page, you guys. Here we go. Or first, let's go right here. See what you guys are talking about. So we got Nathan Petrzak in here. He's taking notes and he's got the money that's just flying. I love it, man. And we got Jack Attack in the room. What's good? What's good, Jack Attack? Good to see you in here, brother. We got Hype M&A saying the man. What's up, Hype? Good to see you. We got JSJ saying Kennedy's loss to Paul Craig aged like wine. And it did. It really did. I went and I watched that fight and I was like, man, that is such an impressive UFC debut against a really tough stylistic matchup in Paul Craig for a kid who had 6 pro fights, and had been a pro for less than 4 years. And then you get Paul Craig in your UFC debut, and you look at a hype train like Jamal Hill and the way that he was coming in hot. He was a minus 300 favorite, you guys, against Paul Craig. And Craig goes out there and he snaps that arm in half in what, a minute? And then beats him with it? Dude, he absolutely derailed that Jamal Hill train just like that. Kennedy and Nzechekuwu came in with even less experience and went 3 rounds with this guy and was beating him. He was beating him. He was landing big shots. But Paul Craig is such a smart fighter. I love it when jiu-jitsu guys will grab guard. They just jump guard. I love that because that's where Paul Craig is at his most dangerous. I think we might even see Joel Alvarez jump guard at some point against Thiago Moises because the guy can't get takedowns and he's only dangerous from his back. So sometimes you got to see guys know who they are as fighters and then fight to their best win condition. Paul Craig absolutely does that all the time. And Nzechekuwu almost beat him, man. It was close, very close. I mean, don't forget, these guys are talking about Ankalaev getting a title shot up here at 205. The only guy to beat Magomed Ankalaev, Paul Craig. So absolutely, JSJ, I couldn't agree more. That loss has aged like wine. Jabril Peter Patterson saying, I got offered a fight against Anton Berzin. Jabril, you're a fighter, man? I didn't know that. That's baller, dude. Dude, Anton's good, man. He gassed out in that in the Kennedy fight, but he was in the UFC Ultimate Fighter house prior to that and looked very good in that house. And he was also a very young guy who was kind of between mixed martial arts and boxing, Anton Berzin. But the guy's good, man. And did you take the fight against him? I assume you didn't take it, but yeah, that's wild, man. I didn't know that, Jabril. And we got DXJC. Kennedy's wins have aged like milk, though. Yeah, but so have Don Jung's DXJC. I'll tell you that right now. Look at Don Jung's wins. We got Nathan Petrzak saying pissed Masvidal is out now. Now Liam's waiting for Kamaru. Smart. If they fed him to Khamzat, his title shot would be dust. Yeah, I think he's going to try to just say he deserves the title shot against Kamaru, but he doesn't. I mean, he backs out of any number one contender shot and then just says he deserves the title. So I wouldn't give this guy a title shot unless he actually accepted some fucking fights against some top 5 guys, not Nate Diaz, for Christ's sake. So yeah, I mean, if Leon wants to wait for his title shot, I think he'll be waiting for a long time. Nigel Lee said, enough said, just bet Kennedy at plus 110. There we go, man. I have not bet Kennedy yet, but man, I'm getting close. Jack Attack saying, I've been torn about this one all week. This Nigerian is the light heavyweight comeback kid. And he is that. And it's because he's got durability, he's got conditioning. And when you put those things together, man, you get a lot of 3rd round finishes out of guys like that, especially when their opponents empty the gas tank trying to finish them early, or when they're just going up against somebody who doesn't have great conditioning and they wind up gassing out. And then, the durability and the conditioning take over the volume in the 3rd round. You break people. And we got Thamrong Chai Sang Chan Pia Wong. You got this, he's saying. And I'm not going to even try to attempt to say your name a second time because I'm sure I didn't do a great job. But thank you for hanging out in here, my man. Appreciate it. DXJC saying, LOL, Masvidal literally did what Colby asked and pulled out of this fight with Leon for the real money fight. What's the real money fight? Yeah, I mean, if he thinks he's getting Usman again, he's delusional. And Jabril saying, this was some years ago. I wasn't ready at that time. I understand that. Yeah, man, you take the fights that you're ready for. Sometimes jumping on those fights that you're not ready for can change you earlier in your career. So yeah, big ups, Jabril. It's good to know you're a fighter. And I love having fighters in the chat that can give me some of the more technical aspects that, us stat guys, we don't understand, so much of, the technical aspects sometimes. So it's good to have a diverse community in here with a bunch of different skill sets. So Big up, Jabril. Appreciate that. And we got Daz File saying, yeah, round 3 sprinkle for Kennedy, not bad. Yeah, for sure, man. He's always worth that. And we got, as an English fan, it's so frustrating to go from seeing a gamer like Bisping to whatever elite. Yeah, definitely, man. I agree with that 100%, man. And Damn Wrong Chai saying, you got it. Appreciate it. And we got Jack Attack saying, nailed it. And we got, wait, hang on a sec here, right? Right. And we got Masvidal versus Covington. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. That is the real money fight. And Covington wants that fight too. So that would be a good one, man. I'd love to see that fight. That'd be fantastic. And I would be betting Colby up to about -300, -350. I think he murders Masvidal, absolutely murders it. And Damn Wrong Chai saying, yep. And we got, does Da'an ever gas? No, he's got great conditioning. However, nobody's really pushing the pace against him, man. I mean, even Ibragimov was out of gas 6 minutes into that fight, so that was a slow-paced fight. The Sam Alvey fights are always slow-paced. He knocked out Slow Mike in the first round. So, yeah, man, Da'an Jung does not gas, but he's going up against somebody that's going to push the pace against him. So his conditioning will be tested like never before. That being said, Da'an Jung's conditioning is absolutely held up thus far. This will be a new challenge for him, but we can't say that Da'an Jung doesn't have the conditioning to get this done. And we've got, so let's go into the stats here, you guys. We're already 36 minutes in. Kennedy Nzechekuwu landing 5 significant strikes a minute, absorbing 5.03. So all, basically 50-50 there. But the volume is what pops off the page here. 11.67 significant strike attempts per minute, while his opponents are only attempting 9.71. So he throws two significant strikes more per minute than his opponents do. So he outvolumes his opponents. He's landing at a 43% clip. He's getting a knockdown on 0.62% of the significant strikes that he lands, and that averages out to 0.46 knockdowns per 15 minutes. The striking defense south of 50% at 48.17. That's not good. Da'an Jung is landing 3.95 and absorbing 3.9. So he's right there landing just a little bit more than what his opponents land against him. He's a little more accurate here than Kennedy, and he's showing more power than Kennedy as he lands a knockdown on 1.18% of the significant strikes that he lands and 0.7 knockdowns per 15 minutes. And he's showing a 55% striking defense. He's never been knocked down. Kennedy Nzechekuwu has never been knocked down. Neither one of these guys is allowed a knockdown per 15 minutes. So, yeah, I mean, on paper, I'm giving Da'an Jung the striking advantage here. He's got more power. He's more accurate. He's more defensively sound. It will be Kennedy that will have the volume advantage. And as far as speed goes, I would give Kennedy the speed advantage here, but not by much. Kennedy throws really straight punches right down the pipe. Da'an Jung does the same thing. Since these guys will be in opposite stances, we'll see the power shots landing, the big body kicks, the big head kicks, and the power hand down the middle. And Nzechekuwu loves those 1-2s. He will be the one throwing more volume, and I think Da'an Jung will be the one landing the bigger shots here, and I think he'll be the more likely one to land a knockdown here, as Kennedy is not great defensively yet. And he's still kind of learning how to use that range to his advantage to keep the fight where he can land strikes, but his opponent can't. He's not a master of keeping that range yet. So that's something we're going to have to watch out for him, because both these guys still aren't even 30 years old yet. We can still be expecting improvements from these guys. And one thing that I want to mention about Nzechekuwu that I saw on tape that I want to bring up is he throws almost all of his strikes at the head. He doesn't work the legs and the body much. And that's something I'd like to see more out of Nzechekuwu. With a guy that has that good of conditioning and pushes that heavy of a pace, man, I'd like to see him working that body and those legs, really kind of chop the guy down from the feet up, because he doesn't have that straight crazy power, that one hitter quitter knockout power, but he's going to the head constantly. If he could work that body, he could absolutely slow down his opponents, really kind of use that durability and that conditioning as a weapon in that third round if he really goes to the body and the legs more. But he's not doing that yet. I would like to see more of that from Kennedy in the future. Let's go into the grappling stats here. Oh, God, man, excuse me, guys. Let me just mute for a second here and take a sip of water. Okay, sorry, back, guys. Kennedy Nzechekuwu has attempted one takedown in his 6 UFC fights, and he did not get it. And his opponents have attempted 45 takedowns in 6 fights, and they've gotten 9 of them. He's showing 80% takedown defense, and he's being controlled 14.54% of his UFC minutes. So no takedowns per 15 minutes, no sub attempts for 15 minutes for Kennedy, and 2.08 takedowns allowed per 15 minutes and 0.69 submission attempts allowed per 15 minutes. So we see him getting out taken down, but the fact that he's got 10% control time for and is only allowing 14.54% control time, even though he's getting out controlled, this is extremely impressive, you guys. We're talking about 44 takedown attempts more on the defensive side that he's facing here. And Nzechekuwu's tried 1 takedown. His opponents have tried 45. He's gotten 0, and his opponents have gotten 9. You would think that he'd be getting out controlled by a big 2-1, 3-1, 4-1 ratio, but he's not. He's got a very good get-up game. He's got very good takedown defense. And when he does get put into bad positions, he's patient. He's patient beyond his years. He's good defensively. You can see him grappling with Danilo Marques and just staying safe and being patient and waiting for Marquez's legs to gas out. It's exactly what happened. But when you're getting, when the ratio of takedowns for and against is 45-1, and you're not even being out controlled at a 2-1 ratio, and still 75% of your fights are taking place at striking range, man, that's very impressive. You don't see offensive grappling numbers here, but in the ratios of the control time and the takedown attempts for and against, you see a guy that's very difficult to control here in Kennedy Nzechekuwu when you really, delve into the stats here, you guys. Now, Jung has 8 takedowns in the UFC on 13 attempts, but we do have to mention that he was 8 of 9 on takedowns in the William Knight fight. So prior to that, he was 0 of 4 on his takedown attempts in the 3 fights prior to the Knight fight. But he's getting them at a 61% clip. He's averaging 2.79 takedowns for 15 minutes, and he's getting 33.91% control time and only allowing 8% control time, and showing excellent takedown defense in his own right here at 88.89%, successfully defending 8 of 9 takedown attempts against. However, that great takedown defense that Jung has, it's not going to make a lick of difference here because Kennedy Nzechekuwu has had 1 takedown attempt in 6 fights. This guy's not trying to take people down. I don't think he'll try to take Jung down, but when you go and you do the deep research like I do when I get ready for a Balls Deep breakdown, I try to watch all the available tape on the guys that I'm going to break down. I have seen Nzechekuwu wrestle. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Kennedy Nzechekuwu could do in this fight what Jung did in his last fight against William Knight and decide, you know what, maybe I don't want to strike with this guy. Maybe I'll try to see how effective Jung is off of his back. But, probably not the best idea, as the guy has successfully defended 8 of 9 takedown attempts against and only been controlled 8% of his UFC career. So I do see this fight taking place on the feet. Even if Jung wants to get it to the ground, I don't think he'll be able to keep it there, and I don't really think he'll be dangerous there. I see this being a range striking match for probably 75 to 80% of this total fight. Before we get into the strength of schedule numbers here, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. And let's see here. Let's see. Justin Nelson saying, does Jung ever gas? And no, he has not gassed yet. Jack Attack saying, all the best with your career, Jabril. I will root for you. DXJC saying, can't bet on the true Homer Simpson of MMA. Yeah, I don't know if he's the true Homer Simpson of MMA, but he's very, very durable, man. And you remember, Homer never really knocked anyone out. He just kind of pushed them over after they got tired. I mean, look what Kennedy Nzechekuwu does to Carlos Ulberg in that fight. Weezy, who you got, Kennedy or Jung? I'm picking Kennedy for this one, you guys. I'm picking Kennedy to win this fight. Jabril saying, at Jack Attack, I haven't fought in years, didn't retire, just was frustrating to get fights and having to travel to train. Oh, I would imagine. Yeah, and I heard it's very tough to get the fights that you want to get when you're coming up in the game. Ratchet USA saying, decision written all over it. Both these guys are very tough. Jack Attack saying, Jabril, I see. Well, all the best for when you decide to jump back in, and I echo those sentiments, Jabril. MMA Asphalt saying, Jung sprinted out in the third round with a smile against Sam Alvey. If that's not scary, then I don't know what is. But yeah, he did. I remember that. And that was after losing 2 rounds to Sam Alvey, which is very disappointing. But man, did he look good in that third round. And so, yeah, I'm not going to say that, even though Kennedy has shown fantastic conditioning and durability, I don't think that those are deficits at all for Don Jung. Not saying that. The only thing I'm kind of nervous about is the reach, says the Smoking Pug. In all fairness and being objective, Jung lost to Alvey and was getting it put on him. He was gifted that win. Well, it wasn't a win. It was a draw. It was scored a draw. But, yeah, I thought Jung 10-8'd him in the third, and that Alvey got the first 2 rounds 10-9. But it was a when you bet on somebody like Don Jung at minus 350 and they come out with a draw, you're pissed that you bet that guy. And yeah, that's what happened there. Sam Alvey made that fight way closer than it should have been. DXJC, look at the quality of guys attempting those takedowns. Are you talking about the takedowns on? Well, we'll go into those numbers. We'll go into those numbers for sure. Headley one saying, Kennedy starts slow. Maybe live bet if you're on Kennedy. Yep. Agreed. That Jung defensive control time is high for just 1 takedown. But yeah, Roy, that can be clinch control time as well. So the clinch control time and the ground control time are just, put into control time. So a lot of times that control time stat is a little bit misleading, because it could be just like somebody holding you up against the cage. But Don Jung in the UFC, 43 minutes of cage time, and on 1 takedown that he's allowed 8%. So 8% would be about 3.8 minutes. So yeah, 3.8 minutes on 1 takedown, successful takedown, but also 9 takedown attempts. So yeah, Jung's done a really good job of being efficient in the grappling exchanges, out controlling his opponents. So that's went pretty well for him. But let's look at the strength of schedules. Or wait, here, we got comments still. MMA Asphalt saying, maybe defending all these takedowns, but I like when he gets a quality opponent like Danilo. He gets his back written for an entire round. Yeah, that's what Danilo Marquez does. But Don Jung's grappling is not on Danilo Marquez's level. Danilo Marquez is a specialist. Paul Craig is a specialist. And Carlos Ulberg is a kickboxing specialist with no grappling. And we didn't even see Kennedy try to force the grappling in that fight. So he is very confident on his feet, Kennedy. And he's also, really good at keeping it on the feet when he wants it there. And guys like, Paul Craig and Danilo Marquez are attempting 30 takedowns against him in 2 fights. And he's winning one of those fights. And the other fight, he loses late in the fight, but he probably would have won if he didn't get in that triangle. So, yeah, that's the thing, Danilo is a very good jiu-jitsu player, and he sells out for the grappling, and Kennedy did what he needed to do to win that fight. And, this is going to be a completely different challenge, because this is going to be probably more of a striking match, as I don't think that Don Jung is going to be getting inside, getting takedowns on a guy with the kind of length that Kennedy has. It's a different story against somebody like, William Knight, who's like a foot shorter and has 10 inches less of reach than somebody like Kennedy does. So Robert Sella is saying round 3 of Usman Covington should go to Usman, to be honest, but it could go either way upon review. Yeah, I scored round 3 for Covington. I scored round 1 for Usman, round 2 for Usman, 10-8. And then I had Covington 3 and 4. And then I had Covington winning the fifth, but the problem was that my stream went out with 2 minutes left in the third. So I didn't get to see a good chunk of the third round. So I have no idea who won the fifth. But yeah, it could have been a draw for me. But like I say, I think Usman winning the fight is the right call there. Absolutely. DXJC. Laughing my ass off. Imagine calling Danilo Marquez a quality opponent. Well, he's got a winning record in the UFC, dude. He beat guys. He was beating Kennedy. I don't know, man. Jack Attack saying the Alvey war is one of my primary concerns, but Alvey takedown defense and the Nzechekuwu takedown defense aren't the same. Alvey's takedown defense is about 85%, you guys. Kennedy's is 80%. And if you think, look, let me tell you something. If Jung tries as many takedown attempts as Danilo Marquez and Paul Craig did against Kennedy and Nzechekuwu, he's getting fucking knocked out in the third round because he's going to gas himself out and Kennedy's going to be there. The conditioning will be there for Kennedy. If this guy tries to push a wrestling heavy game plan against Kennedy and Nzechekuwu, he's getting knocked out in the third round. I promise you. He's not a good enough grappler. He's not submitting anybody. He submits, a completely gassed Ibragimov in the third round with a guillotine choke. I mean, the guy could barely even stand at that point. So he's not going to out-grapple Kennedy here. Kennedy has already been in the cage with two way better grapplers in Marquez and Paul Craig, both of them Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu decorated black belts. Jung, not that. He's a judo guy. So Jack Attack saying the Alvey war is one of my primary concerns, but Alvey they aren't the same. Alvey's really good takedown defense. Kennedy a notch below, but remember, Sam Alvey's a fucking middleweight. He's not a light heavyweight. Sam Alvey and fucking Kennedy and Nzechekuwu are not in the same weight class, you guys. Taking down Sam Alvey is way easier than taking down Kennedy and Nzechekuwu because one guy's 185 and the other guy's 205. Weasels, Jung or Kennedy? I'm going with Kennedy, Hammering Hog. About Better saying, Kennedy just isn't refined anywhere. Athlete, not assassin. Yeah, he's not refined anywhere. You're right. He's an athlete. He's got physical freak gifts. And those gifts really translate well in the cage. The conditioning, the durability, the length, the height. But yeah, he's only got 10 professional fights. Jung is the more complete mixed martial artist here. Absolutely About Better. That being said, I might sprinkle Kennedy via TKO. Yeah, I'm picking him to win in the third round by knockout. Roy C saying that makes sense for it to include clinch time. Yes, it does. It does include clinch time. Oh, shit. Justin Nelson saying Jabril is 4-0 as a pro. Damn, Jabril fucking got that O still attached to the end, man. Very good. I love it. About Better saying, did I watch the same fight? I'm not sure which fight you're talking about. Headley One saying, surprises a pick 'em on fight doesn't go to decision. Both very durable. Yeah, they're both very durable, but they both have a ton of power too. And both Nzechekuwu 67% finish rate, Jung 85% finish rate. So even though they're both durable, if you add up the three losses, 2 of their 3 losses have come inside the distance. So I could see this finishing inside the distance as well. The time prop's a little bit tricky for this one. Colby got whooped again, says Marlowe. Yeah, he lost. About Better saying, well, I cashed all my Usman tickets as well as that one by decision. Yeah, I didn't cash any tickets on Usman. I didn't have any money on that fight. I picked Usman to win, but the line was just so wide. And, it had been so close that first time. I would have been sweating there towards the end because I thought that could have went either way. But, yeah, man, that was a great fight. I hope they do it a third time. DXJC saying, these are bottom of the barrel at 205. The fact Danilo has a positive UFC record is a testament to how terrible the bottom of that division is. And you're right. Yes. No, yeah, Fabio Charant, Ibragimov, the Tarantula, Daquan Townsend was at 205. He was 0-4. Yeah, DXJC, you're absolutely right about that, man. There's a lot of low-level guys here, man. You got that right. About Better saying dogs. Let's see. We got Pocket QB Lamar Jackson saying the dog disagrees. Yes, he does. Kennedy is the play saying About Better. The dog is agreeing. Well, the dog barks when he's for the underdog. At least that's what I think. He doesn't speak English, so I don't know, but That's what I think the read is, you guys. Pocket QB Lamar Jackson saying Kennedy going to rock it out and knock him out. It's going to be a great fight, dude. It's going to be a great fight. I know some really, really sharp dudes that are on Jung, and I respect those guys a lot. So, yeah, I can't wait for this fight. Yeah, going to sprinkle Kennedy round 3, and I will be sprinkling Kennedy round 3 as well. Smoking Pug saying the dog is barking in the background, hasn't failed me yet. Kennedy all day decision. And Jack Attack saying, this is true. Kennedy's takedown defense is a notch down from Alvey, but Kennedy is a Goliath. Exactly. Completely different fighters here. Jack Attack saying Nigerian or pass, I think. And Hammering Og saying, I like Kennedy too. Money piling in on him, and that is true. Bringing him to pick from an underdog. Yeah. So the dog bark is agreeance, not disagreeing. I don't know. We got Humble's Jack Attack saying humble old Jabril didn't even brag about it. Thanks. Haven't proven nothing yet, says Jabril. Still working on coming back, man. Well, 4-0 is a great way to start, Jabril. Hope to see you back soon, brother. Nigel Lee saying dog is barking for the dog pick, baby. That's a lock if I've ever heard it. Yes, dog howl is for dog pick. Danny Lopez saying always at it, Weezy. Tell me why my girl just did a Jacques Tits reference. Dude, I hope everybody starts to celebrate the life and the accomplishments and the gifts that Jacques Tits has given the world. The Tits metric, Tits buildings, the Tits alternative. Shout out Jacques Tits. Rest in peace, brother. Jack Attack saying it's a sign, dog. DXJC, I want to be on Jung, but he's as bottom of the barrel as Kennedy. He's not. Look, DXJC, these two guys are not bottom of the barrel fighters. They're not. Jung is not bottom of the barrel. Kennedy and Nzechekuwu is not bottom of the barrel. These guys are 27 and 29 years old. Okay, look at this division. It's full of 35 to 40-year-olds. Okay, the champion is 43. Okay, he just beat a 39-year-old to win the championship. These guys are young. These guys have got a lot of growing to do. Please, DXJC, don't call these two guys bottom of the barrel. These guys are going to be running this division in about 3-4 years. They're very gifted. They hit very hard. They're both very well-rounded, despite the fact that they're young in their careers. So, yeah, man, these guys are not bottom of the barrel. Jack Attack saying the dog barked during the Iaquinta breakdown in Stat Diggers last week. Yeah, he got that one wrong, man. Got that one way wrong. Am I wrong, or does Jung just stand in front of you with no head movement? Well, he's not particularly, he doesn't. Yeah, he does kind of just stand in front of you with no head movement. But then again, Kennedy is pretty hittable too. Better saying I need some Jacques Tits content. And the Smoking Pug said, Jack, that's different. When he's doing his own show, it hasn't failed me yet. So maybe Bootsy is more accurate when it's my show and not Stat Tiggers. Oh God, let's hope not. The UFC will be doomed, he says. Hey dude, they're young, DXJC. These guys get better. I mean, I'm telling you, Hu Yazong is coming. He's gonna come on, DXJC. They're not that bad. They're not that bad, dude. You're telling me Homer Simpson? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's a future 205 champion. He's already 29 years old. But I'm saying he can make a lot of noise in this division. He presents just a very, very unique challenge. Very hard to train for. So this is a great stylistic matchup. I love this fight, you guys. Let's go into the strength schedule stats here, look at the lines real quick, and then sign off because I've kept you guys here almost an hour already. So, yeah, man, the ratios and the strength of schedule, not very good here. Jung, less than a 1 ratio. And Nzechekuwu, 1.67 ratio, so better. But he's fighting much less experienced competition. That would make sense. While it's Jung fighting the more experienced competition, having the fight against Sam Alvey, who I believe has 21 UFC fights. If we look at the wins here, better win-loss ratio for Nzechekuwu, but more experienced competition for Jung. And then the only loss for Kennedy and Nzechekuwu is to a 7-4. Paul Craig, 11 total fights, but I strip out the fight against the particular opponent, so it looks like he's 6-4, and a 1.5 ratio. So we see on the resume of Nzechekuwu here, we got a win over Marquez, we got the win over Ulberg, win over Darko Stosic, lost by sub Paul Craig, and then the Contender Series win over Dennis Bryant. Don Jung beats William Knight by unanimous decision. A split decision draw against Sam Alvey. A first round knockout against Slow Mike. A win by submission in the third round via guillotine, Kadis Ibragimov. And then he beat Sasa Milinkovic on the regional scene. I was not impressed with Sasa in that performance. That was not a great win. But anyway, so these are going to be the toughest guys that they have fought. I want to bring up one thing real quick here. I want to talk about the Ulberg fight with Nzechekuwu and give you guys a little stat here. Carlos Ulberg, in 499 seconds, landed 146 significant strikes against Kennedy Nzechekuwu and threw 227. So I was saying to myself, man, he really got it put on him in that fight. I wanted to watch that one back and just see what happened there. Ulberg just threw a absolutely heroic amount of volume here. So nobody can keep up this pace. But to get hit 146 times and knocked down once, I believe, or no, he didn't get knocked down, but he did get hurt once badly early in the fight. 227 significant strike attempts in 499 seconds. Calculator up here. We'll do a little. So 499 divided by how many significant strike attempts were we talking about here? 227. Is that many per second? We got to multiply that by 60. Yeah, he was throwing over 20 significant strike attempts per minute, you guys. So it's not surprising that he tired out, but it's a testament to Kennedy's durability here. However, also a testament to his hit ability. That is a problem. You don't want to get hit that many times in any fight, but this guy is incredibly durable. So let's look at the lines here before we get out of here, you guys. So we've got Da Jung right now. You could get him as good as minus 115. And Da Jung opened at minus 225, you guys, here. So if you're on the Da Jung side, man, now is the time to bet him because the bookies opened it up at minus 225. It crept up to minus 167 and then sat there for about 2 weeks. And then it creeps up here around the 25th of October to minus 143, sits about minus 136, 139, and then now it's all the way up to minus 121. So a ton of money coming in here on Kennedy Nzechekuwu. I'd think about betting him here, but shit, I missed the line. I could have got him at plus 130 a couple of weeks ago. I could have got him at plus 115, a week ago or even just 2 days ago. Now he's already minus money. This line might even flip. I don't think it should flip. I think Da Jung should be the favorite, but yeah, there's a ton of money coming in here on Kennedy. If we look at the inside the distance props here, Nzechekuwu inside the distance is about plus 200 on the aggregate, and Jung inside the distance is plus 329. So that's interesting, you guys. If you're on the Kennedy side and he's a slight underdog here, I find it interesting that the books think that Kennedy's got a better chance to finish this fight inside the distance than Jung does. That's a testament to Kennedy's durability. So very interesting there. And then let's see. Nzechekuwu round 3 plus 1,000. I think that's absolutely worth a sprinkle. I'm probably going to be touching that up for a quarter unit just to see if we can win 2.5. Kennedy, with that durability, that conditioning, that volume, that output, and that length is a very difficult test to train for. And I do like his chances to get this one done late. So the official pick, you guys, I'm picking Kennedy Nzechekuwu to win this one late in the third round via knockout. I'm probably going to be betting Nzechekuwu round 3, but because I missed this much line movement, I think I'm going to stay away from the money line on this one. And if it goes any more, man, I mean, you got to believe that the values on Jung here, and Jung may not go away like Kennedy's previous opponents have, who were a little bit more careless with their conditioning and their output. If Jung can kind of slow this fight down, make it a point fighting striking battle, he could probably win this on the scorecards because Nzechekuwu is very hittable. But it will be Nzechekuwu throwing the more volume, so that the optics will be better there for him. But yeah, I'm picking that one, you guys. I'm picking Kennedy to win by third round knockout here. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat before I head out here. Let's see. Okay. DFS by the numbers saying Zhang takes a 3-year layoff to improve and gets worse. Classic. Jack Attack saying, I do agree. These are two of the more promising light heavyweight prospects outside of the rankings, and I agree completely there. Yeah. And Bout Better saying, I tailed you on that pick, Brady. Well, I went with him after weigh-in. And let's hope that it's another 3 until we see him. I agree with that, Jack Attack. And DXJC, where's Jabril at? We can get this man to be a light heavyweight champion 100% if Kennedy and Da Jung are the guys he's got to compete with. Man, DXJC is so low on Kennedy and Da Jung. Anton was like a 185 or put on a little miss, Jabril. Get back in the gym, and you really could be a 205 UFC champion. I believe in you. And Jack Attack saying, Jabril, the undisputed Uncle Weezy live chat champ. That's right, man. He could probably kick anybody's ass in here, including me, fucking 6 days a week and twice on Sundays, I'm sure. Justin Nelson saying, if Kennedy gets hit easily and his last 2 victories came from the opponent gassing, then why doesn't Da Jung use his power and gas tank to dominate? Well, he's not going to have a better gas tank, but he's going to have to use his power to dominate this. He's going to have to land the bigger shots. And I think he should keep it a range striking battle because that way he won't empty his gas tank quickly. You won't see Kennedy have a huge conditioning advantage in the third. And I think the fight will be really close if it stays that way. Nigel Lee saying, Weezy fighting championship. Jabril is our inaugural champ. That's right, man. Hammering Hog saying, Kennedy in interview says he runs marathons as training. Don't hear that often for 205-pound men. No, you don't. The guy's got freakish conditioning. I have no data on this and wish I did, but I feel like opening odds are more accurate than closing odds more often than not. That would be a very interesting data science project, Jack Attack. And when I have this month off as a guy that does have a stats degree and a little bit of experience doing data science, it's going to be some of those things that I'm going to be looking to analyze. That's going to be some of the analytics that I'm looking to add to the Patreon, whatever I do that, to a website, whatever the plans are in the future for Uncle Weezy, analytics and looking into questions like that, data science projects like that are going to be very useful ways to spend our time. Nigel Lee, also remember, we're back in the Apex, smaller cage. Kennedy, a freak of nature. Under might be a play. It's plus 100. Jock Tits Memorial Ass Shaving System. I'm writing that one down, Headley One. Thank you for that. Do you think odds makers are in the chat? I don't know, man. I don't think I have enough viewers for them to be. They might be peeping like Brady's chat, and they might be peeping like Locke's chat and like Clint's chat. But I'm one of the smaller guys on YouTube, so I don't think they're peeping mine. But Brady and I we've noticed after when we do Stat Diggers, and we get a lot of live viewers for Stat Diggers, and Stat Diggers gets like 4,000 or 5,000 views a week. We tend to see that there is some line movement during that show. We see it a lot. So maybe they are. I don't know. I'd like to think that they are. Jack Tech saying, I'm going to do a little tape myself before I make my final decision. I want to see what made Jung open up 2-1 favorite. Maybe recency bias from the Knight performance. It was a great performance against Knight that he had. A fantastic performance. Thanks, 1,000 plus 1,000 is nice. Oh no, I'm a sweetheart these days. And under 2.5 plus 125. That's my play, says Marlowe. Got it, man. Got it. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all, man. This fight, these guys are violent and they hit hard. Plus 1,100 for round 3 TKO DQ. Yeah. All right. I might look at that one as well, Pocket QB. And Jack Attack saying, I look forward to hearing the results of the opening closing analysis whenever you have time for it. Yeah, man, that would be a great data science project to do. If you ever get a Manscaped sponsorship, you got to use it. I will. Oh, I definitely will. That would be awesome to learn. Absolutely, man. Manscaped. Yeah. Great show. Convince me on Kennedy. Round 3 sprinkle plus 1,200. There we go, Roy. Hey, it's an hour and 10 minutes in, you guys. I've dragged this out way too long. Let's cut it off right here. Thank all you guys for hanging out with me on a Wednesday afternoon. I got a dog to walk. He's pissed off. He's ready to go. So I'm going to go walk him. God bless each and every one of you guys. I'm going to come back later on tonight for another Balls Deep breakdown. Hit me up on Twitter at MMA Weezy if you have any requests. I'm thinking of doing Moises Alvarez or potentially Baeza Williams or potentially Rothwell de Lima, because there seem to be people on both sides of that fight as well. So, yeah, hit me up on Twitter if you want to see any of those matchups. If there's one that you would like to see, let me know. And I'll come back later on tonight, probably after the Club and Sub podcast guys are done, and do another Balls Deep breakdown for you guys, hang out a little bit. So thanks for hanging out, everybody. I'm going to cut it off there. God bless each and every one of you guys, and I will see you guys later on tonight.